You guys ready to go? I'm gonna fire us off an intro, and then we're just gonna crack on. Deal?
Let's freaking do it,
All
man.
good.
What's up again, everybody? We are back. It's another week, and you are watching two dudes with one other dude, all on a podcast. And that podcast, Kel, is called what?
Unlimited Edition, a podcast for the players.
I passed it over to you because I know you like saying the name.
I like the
just
pause,
was like,
man. I like the pause. It's
Yeah, I totally get that. In fact, if I were to do it, I would be Unlimited Edition, a podcast, and then just leave it there. And just to mess with Kel, it's just a podcast. So we're here. It's not just the two of us. We have a very special guest with us, one of our good buddies. I think we can both call him our good buddy, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Cool. This is Jim. Jim, how's it going?
What's up, guys? By the way, you two just work so well together. It's just amusing to watch you kind of play off each other. But
We
doing well.
practice a lot.
Thanks
We
for
practice
having me
that
on
a
the
lot.
podcast.
Yeah. Well, it's good to have you. Can you give some insight into just a quick intro of you so people can know as we talk and hang out, who you are as Mr. Jim?
Yeah, sure, guys. So obviously, I run the online Flesh and Blood single store, FABTCGcards.com. Been doing that for actually over a year now. Of course, time's kind of flown. We can thank COVID for that. And actually, that's part of the reason I started the shop. I guess I've always been a gamer growing up, all kinds, board game, video game, kind of everything. And primarily after starting college and going forward, a video gamer. And actually what kind of happened for me is around holiday 2019, 2020, I got into playing some tabletop games with some friends at a local game store, and I really had missed doing that. And as part of that, I really early on played Magic back in 95, 96, really when it was kind of just starting. And I decided, well, I kind of want to get back into a trading card game now that I'm, kind of getting back into in-person gaming. So I got a little intimidated after looking into it. Honestly, I saw how many sets come out these days now, and how much work it would take to kind of get back into it. And actually, during some of that research, I saw one of Rudy Alpha Investments videos, and he had just kind of first talked about Flesh and Blood. So I said, well, that sounds like a really cool game. I think he described it as like Diablo meets Magic or something like that. I said, well, I love Diablo. Let's look at that. Really kind of looked into it and got really interested in it. I found my first couple boxes. This was probably, I don't know, February or so of 2020 on eBay because I couldn't find it in any of the LGSs locally and stuff. And I got some boxes there, and then actually I shortly after that met Bill over at Reaper, our buddy Bill there, and he hooked me up actually with a learn to play decks and boxes and things, and kind of really got me into it there. So I really started with just collecting because as we know, COVID was really just starting to pick up as I was getting these things. So opening the cards, really enjoying them. Did a few webcam games with a close friend of mine, and just really got into it from there. Because of more time on my hands during that time, I decided to, actually more looking at the market, buying more product myself. I saw kind of some space for singles. Decided I had already started an LLC previously. I've been a big collector all my life, all things gaming and such. And in the future, it was kind of an idea to sell off some of it just as a business with just my wife and my daughter eventually as she gets older. So I decided to use that LLC and see if I could create an account with the distribution. I talked with LSS and see would they allow that? Could I be a singles retailer if I didn't have a brick and mortar store, et cetera? And at the time, that was kosher. So they let I set up an account with distributors, started getting product that way, and then started a really basic Square site in the beginning. So it was free. That's why I wanted to just kind of see how things would go.
Yep.
And I started off with that. It ran it for a few months, and at first it really wasn't getting much traffic. That's, I guess this was around June-ish is when I launched it, May or June. So that's why I just had my 1-year anniversary.
Congratulations! That's pretty sick, man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thanks. So yeah, I did that for a few months, and after traffic picked up and I started adding more inventory, Square is not, at least the free version of Square was not very good for a large inventory. So I moved over to Shopify. I actually talked a lot with Mitch over at Midtown Merchant, and he coached me through some of the Shopify stuff and suggested it. So I bounced, him and actually both him and Onnit over at Fab Foundry. Yeah.
I know Onnit personally. He lives.
Yeah, I knew that he was kind of in your
close.
area.
Yeah.
So both those guys have been awesome, and have kind of answered questions for me kind of as I was getting going, and they were kind of starting at the same time actually. So we're really kind of all learning from each other. But went to Shopify and then kind of started from there. My wife actually needed something to do during the COVID time, so it became just a family thing. My daughter and I opened the cards together, kind of sort through them. I'll usually run the website and the printing the orders out and getting them prepped, and then my wife helps pack and ship. So it's kind of a whole family operation.
That's super cool.
This is all something to do.
Dude, I did not know that at all. That is so cool, man.
Yeah.
What is it? Okay, I wanted to talk about like the shop and stuff like that after, but now I'm just super interested. I'll save my questions. I'm gonna try to, maybe I'll write it down somewhere. I'm gonna save my questions because now I'm like super interested in asking questions about that whole affair. I'm sorry. Continue. I apologize.
Oh, yeah, there's not a whole lot I was gonna say more. I mean, I did the cards only for a while, and then only in the last few months. Actually, one of the local players, and I'd love to talk about that a little later in the podcast about starting kind of the Flesh and Blood community here in DC. But one of the local players here, I partnered with him. He's the one that's been doing all the art for the playmats we've been selling. So just to be clear, a lot of them that we've introduced so far are really just stock art. The whole edit or change a little bit, and now we're kind of getting into commissioned pieces and things. Anyway, got into the playmat business just because me personally, as well as a lot of the players locally, were kind of frustrated with official playmats. Now they're getting a little more available, but at the time it was almost impossible without paying a lot of money to get an official playmat. So we decided to just take our hand at starting some of our own designs for the playmats, and that actually has been doing as good, if not better, than the card selling business. So we're
kind of interesting.
Yeah, they were popular enough that we just keep making new designs for each class, and as they keep putting out more classes, obviously we just have more space to kind of use to create mats. Really that's kind of where I'm at today.
Nice.
That's a really good sum up of you, man. If anyone asks in the comments, if they're like, wait, stop, who's Jim? Shame on them because they didn't listen. What a cool story though. That's a cool way to kind of round your way into the game and find your way there. I dig it, man.
Super random question that I was just thinking about while we were talking. You said your daughter opens up cards with you. What's her like favorite class? Like, does she have a favorite class while you're opening up cards?
Probably, she just turned 10, so her favorite class is my favorite class. So
gotcha.
Anytime we were opening Ranger cards, because I love Ranger.
Nice.
She definitely, hey Dad, more Ranger cards. So she likes looking at the art too, just going through it, seeing when new sets come out, especially like she has renewed interest and she really wants to be gung ho and look at all the new stuff.
So. So is she hyped? Is she hyped for Tales of Aria with Rangers?
I showed her the picture of Lex. Is it Lexi, right?
Lexi,
yeah.
Yeah. I showed her the picture of Lexi, and she lit up. She just,
that's so cool.
Dude. Dad, are you gonna play her? It's like, yeah, of course.
That's so cool.
Force Lexi no matter what at the Vegas calling. I don't care if my pool sucks. I'm forcing Lexi. Maybe. We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe it'll end up being like Prism and Monarch, where you pretty much can always have a hand that plays it.
Yeah,
that's
maybe.
A very good point. That's going to be an interesting thing there. I think that day is going to be full of like, oh my god, look at this. Look at this. It all kind of depends on how they're going to do spoilers.
You're going to hear like a breakout in the crowd every once in a while. Somebody opens a Fabled or whatever. And
a legendary that hasn't been spoiled or something.
Exactly. It's going to be a really cool atmosphere to do that in.
Yeah, it will be. Hey, so before we get any further into the content, I want to start with our first segment. And our first segment is this. In the world of Fab, over the past few weeks, what is something new or something interesting that you've kind of been doing, diving into, that sort of thing? So think about that while I go. I'll go first since I'm the one that's kind of firing the question away. Over the past 2 weeks, I've been playing a fair bit of Wizard. And I've been playing in a couple of like online tournaments, stuff like that. And I'm choosing to play Wizard over other classes at this point because I have just a real feeling that we'll see Wizard in Tales of Aria. And if we are going to see Wizard in Tales of Aria as one of these classes, then I want to have a pretty good feel of the class as it stands now, so that it's more easy to kind of analyze, understand, and extrapolate on when we see spoilers for it. If that is the case in Tales of Aria. So for me, I've been doing some Wizard kind of stuff, and it's been a lot of fun. Oh my gosh, I love playing Wizard, and the more that I've done it, the more it makes some semblance of sense. And I realize, oh yeah, okay, so I can get a lot better at this because I start to see the play lines improve in my own play, and I'm like, ah, man, I am terrible right now, but it's getting better, and that's what's interesting to me. So that's what I've been doing over the past couple of weeks in Fab. What about you, Kel?
I've been basically just kind of playing some of the same decks that I've had. I just want to get really good at a couple decks, so I have something to bring to the calling, and I'm very familiar with. So I don't want to play something super meta, and Chain would be the easy go-to for me, because Chain's really good, and Runeblade's one of my favorite classes, but I can still play Runeblade and not play Chain. So I've been playing and practicing with the Sonata Viserai deck. I love that deck so much. It's so fun. So yeah, I've just been doing that. Basically, just playing with some friends locally, doing some Sonata Viserai, and it's great. I'm really excited. A lot of my forward thinking in terms of Fab is just looking at the calling and looking at Tales of Aria. I think what you're doing and practicing for like Wizard is a smart thing to prep for the set.
I guess unless they don't have Wizard in a set, and then I'm just an idiot. I mean, just like jamming games of Wizard for no purpose.
For fun. It's for fun. But there's gonna be like only 3 classes in the set, which is super weird. So I mean, Wizard could be one of the 3 classes. We already know Ranger, so there's only 2 more. Yeah, it's.
I heard Guardian thrown out there just because Bravo.
It's a pretty easy.
Yeah.
There's a couple pretty easy guesses, which makes it. I think
that's a safe guess. So.
It makes the 3, the only 3 heroes super interesting because there's a lot of really good guesses. Like Guardian's a good guess, Illusionist is a good guess, Wizard's a good guess. Yep. There's a lot of good guesses. Yep. So I think
I like the Wizard too, though, because didn't we hear? I think it might have been James said there's going to be. He kind of alluded to underdogs, as in more than one class coming, or going to see some love or whatever in Aria. Yep. So. We already know Ranger, so it'd be really the only other class I think that is an underdog. Wizard there.
I agree.
I don't know if this is 100% true, but I think I also heard at one point James say that Wizard was his favorite class or one of his favorite classes. So
I think he just said that in Saint's interview.
Okay, cool. I haven't watched the third part to that. I watched the first 2, but I've watched a lot of interviews with him, and I'm pretty sure he said that a long time ago.
He said it before, yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I want to see more Wizard stuff. Just because Wizard's cool, but also because it's James's favorite class. And so you get to see the creators' like favorite stuff, come to light. So super interesting.
I think we're gonna see it. I really do. When they spoiled the set being Tales of Aria, that was one of the things that was like, I mean, even before, technically, I thought Wizard was going to be in Kingdoms because I thought they would do Volcor and they'd tap into the Wizard from there. But
that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, elemental stuff. It's like, yeah, it's right up its alley.
Yeah,
so.
It makes so much sense. So much sense.
Jim, what about you? What have you done in the world of Fab lately?
Yeah, so I jumped on the Prism train for a little while and was playing that kind of at the local stores, casual play, until actually pretty recently, I guess last week, I don't know if you guys saw Joey from Decks and Drafts. He did a video on an Ranger and kind of showed a different way to play it. So I saw that video, and of course I love Ranger, so I had to give that a try. So I kind of built a variation of that deck, and the premise behind that is kind of, I don't want to spoil this video too much, but basically you don't have to run all arrows. Run some arrows and then run a bunch of other kind of low-cost attack action cards, and then kind of go wide. Hit arrow, and a lot of ways to bring out arrows back to the deck, etc. So. He's got a cool idea. I've played with it just a couple games so far, and I like it. So that's kind of what I'm running right now. I definitely am a more casual player, so I haven't done any of the tournaments recently. I'm actually a judge now, so I did that just recently. So through one of the local stores, I'll be judging some of the Road to Nationals in the area.
Well,
awesome.
Yeah, so that's a lot of fun.
Do you want to try to judge for bigger events, like any of the callings coming up or anything like that? I'm not even sure how that works. I'm just curious.
Yeah, actually, I saw that Channel Fireball, I guess, was hiring or doing independent contractors for things like that, judging, just support and whatever.
Really?
But I'd rather, I think, just go and enjoy the event. So especially because they're kind of the first ones, I don't really want to spend it working per se. But in the future, maybe. I'm really, though, I did it more to I'm really involved with the local DC community and help getting it, kind of together. And we've got a great local community that's kind of up and coming. So the idea was more just offering to be able to support local armories and, skirmishes and kind of the more local tournaments.
That's super cool. Cool. Going off onto that, more about your local community, because I know you want to talk about that anyway. Was there a community when you started, or did you just build it literally from the ground up? Because for me, I started Flesh and Blood super early before Arcane Rising, but there was still a tiny community that got in right at the ground floor with a couple stores here in the Portland area. So I'm just curious if that's true with you, or if you just literally just built it up.
No, I can't take credit for doing it from the ground up. I did get in really early. I finally noticed, I guess I found it through the official Fab website. I was regularly going there and looking to see what retailers were kind of popping up on the store finder. And at one point I looked and I saw a store pop up. And so I hit them up and I was like, oh, you guys are carrying Flesh and Blood. And it wasn't terribly close to me. It's still in the DC metro area, about 45-minute drive for me. And they said, yeah, we've got some interest. I actually bought some product from them, went down there, met them. And then they said, hey, there's a couple others around, what if we offered you a time slot if you guys want to try to do some play? And this is kind of as things were starting to slowly open back up. So we kind of started on Sundays at that store, and I think there was a handful of us. It was 4 or 5 maybe, kind of that were starting to become more regular, and starting a community there at that store. That was still the only store kind of in the DC metro area carrying it at the time. And we became pretty close friends and players, and all of us have worked kind of hard to continue to teach the game regularly, be very inviting to new players. As time has gone on, that particular store grew to probably 10, 15 regulars on the open play days. They're hosting the Road to Nationals that's in the DC area next weekend. And I think they signed up 24 just from I think it's 24 or 32, but it's more of a seating, they've sold out because they only had X amount of seats.
Right.
That store's really kind of rolling now. They actually just opened a second store closer to me, so hopefully we'll get. They're gonna actually start doing Flesh and Blood open play on Friday nights, and they're going to be the only LGS in the area not doing Friday Night Magic. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of crowd that draws.
I think that's that's a good idea, actually. It gives people who don't play Magic something to do on Fridays too.
Yeah, so it'll be cool to see how many people show up for that, because they will be as of right now the only DC area local store doing Friday night Flesh and Blood. But we've had a lot of the LGSs start to carry it. part of what I do, like with my store, I started off selling rares and commons early on when I had a lot more time. It's a little too hard to keep up with them these days, so I donate a lot of it to kind of our community, and so I provide a lot of the bulk, and then the guys in our kind of our regular play group build. Actually, Joey from Decks and Drafts, his little welcome decks. So we use the bulk to build those. Made a ton of them. I think the guys have built over 100 at this point, well over 100. And we'll go to the LGSs and help them schedule their welcome event. Some of us will show up to be sure to train or teach people how to play the game, give away the welcome decks. We've got flyers that show all the classes, let people like kind of read about the classes, and give away some packs and things here and there. So been very involved in like getting it started in all the different stores. We started first also with a DC area Flesh and Blood group. So there's like a Flesh and Blood kind of fan page for our metro area, and in there we kind of share what the event schedule is going to be, talk about strategies, everything. A Discord was started recently, and actually we just launched last week FabTCGDC.com. And it's a very basic website that has a Google Calendar for the events for around the area. We put up the links to all the LGSs that carry the product, just some links to the different resources, FabDB, things like that. So we've got a lot of things out there to just kind of bring everybody together and hopefully continue to grow the community. But so far, everybody has been so friendly, and it's just been an awesome time just hanging out with a lot of the guys. Several of them went this past weekend. I didn't get to participate, unfortunately, down to the Richmond, Virginia area. They had a big Road to Nationals at TAG there. And then there was a big Road to Nationals today up in Baltimore. So a little bit of a drive for the DC folks, but some of our more competitive regular players got to go and do that. So it's going to be cool to hear from them.
So it sounds to me, and you may speak differently of this whole situation, but it sounds to me like you are very instrumental in building up the scene within the area that you're in. Would you agree with that, or what would you say to that?
I mean, I certainly wouldn't take sole credit. I think I put in a lot of work to help with resources. So like I host the website, I created the Facebook group, I give the bulk, but I certainly don't do all the work. So there's several others that run the scheduling, run the Discord, run other elements, and then it's a big metro area. So obviously I can't personally be at all the stores at all times. So it's several of us that kind of do that. So
let me ask you this then. If you could give like 3 bullet points for like the best 3 things that you could do to foster or grow or support a community, what do you think your 3 things would be? Like, what 3 points would you make to make a community better?
Having a platform for communication is massive. So whether it be a Facebook group or like a website with forums or something like that, or just a Discord, just having a place that everybody can come together and meet each other, kind of get comfortable with each other even before coming to a store. Play some webcam games. There's a lot of things that can happen with that. And then just making everybody feel comfortable with it before they even come into a store. So that, I think, I wish we had started some of it earlier, even before we just started running like the local learn to play events. So that's key, helping foster that community, making everybody feel welcome. That's a big part of like the Flesh and Blood community, I think everywhere, not just for DC, but being very open, and anybody at any time can walk in to a store playing and learn to play or not feel like they're not welcome. So that's something we really, really push for, and it reflects. Like, everybody really has that attitude. So that's a main point. Another one, get an LGS that's carrying the product and partner with them. If they don't know how to use Gem, help them to use Gem to run events. Help them to schedule a welcome event in Gem to get it published. Help publicize it for them. through Facebook, some of the more public Flesh and Blood channels, etc. These are some of the things we've done initially with the stores as well. And then kind of, because sometimes they're more reluctant to put a lot of effort into Flesh and Blood, especially if they're running Magic stuff.
Yeah.
So if you do the effort for them, they don't really have much to lose. I know a couple of stores when I told them about the Armory kits, and I was like, guys, you don't pay for them, just ask for them. Schedule the events. You can charge to run, the event, charge people in, and then they gave you the prize support. So there's nothing to lose. And they have, and it's hopefully paying off for them more and more, and we'll just see more and more Armory events locally, etc. So that's partnering with an LGS is definitely something you really need to do. For a third point, it's going to just take. You need somebody that's got the resources as far as being able to give out materials for learn to play events, do the bulk decks. So whether it's I have the store, so I have a lot of bulk, and I'm able to do that. But bringing everybody together that has opened a lot of product and might have a lot of bulk as a community, kind of pooling that together, maybe all coming together at an LGS to build the decks together. That'd be a good community building thing. And then just taking a little time to have materials to bring to stores for them to give out. So the IRA decks almost are never in stores to give out to anybody. So having flyers about what the Flesh and Blood is, when the local free play is, dates, information, that kind of stuff. Sorry, that third point's kind of more of a mesh of the first couple, but
no, I think it's a great unique point in and of itself, because I think the resource portion of it, pooling your resources, putting together decks, and then distributing those resources are a fantastic way for a new player to be able to just, I'll sample that, sure. And then they sample and they're like, yeah, sure, I'll buy a few packs of that and I'll put together something of my own. And then after a few packs, the game sells itself. And so if you provide the initial resource or the cost investment, and players can sample that, then I think they can go from there very easily. So I do think that's a fantastic third point. I was actually hoping you would say that, because that was, while you were talking, I was like, for me, that's one of those points of just very simply, if you have bulk of anything, commons, put it together in decks and then give them to someone. There's no need not to. They're just going to collect dust most likely, so you might as well put them to use.
Something else I've done, I just remember too, when we do a lot of the welcome to plays, or even just when I go to open play, I'll bring a few 800 count boxes of commons and rares and just lay them on the table and be like, hey guys, if they're just starting, sift through them, see if there's anything you want to add to enhance your welcome deck you got last week, kind of thing.
Yeah.
They can supplement. Obviously, they buy the packs to try to get the Majestics, the super rares are higher. But having the commons and rares there, they don't have to do a massive investment to alter the deck they just got. So, exactly. And it's easy. It gives somebody something to do too. People like looking through bulk. So get to see kind of all the cards that are out there if they haven't seen a whole lot yet. So that's another cool little side thing that you can do to help the community get into the game initially. But you're right, the game sells itself when people start playing. It really does. It really sells itself.
I think all three of your points are fantastic, and to reinforce it a little bit, that's almost exactly what happened here in Portland. But instead of you, Jim, it was actually, we mentioned him earlier, on it from Fab Foundry. He did almost exactly, literally exactly what you said. Do everything from the game store to getting the bulk and selling decks to just he literally did everything. So I can confirm it's not just a one-time thing. This is it works. These things work to start your community. So yeah, I think
it totally does.
Absolutely. And I have, you can see them in the background here, all these prepaid USPS boxes on my column there.
Oh yeah.
I have bulk. I was selling it a little bit just because I had so much. I needed to clear space for the next sets and stuff. But I'm happy to, if it's an LGS that somebody's sponsoring, like I was mentioning, or just if there's somebody starting a community, hit me up. I will send one of those boxes for the cost of shipping.
And then, okay, so this is it Joey that did the entire packet that you were talking about earlier? Okay, I'm trying to find a link to that because that thing, if you haven't seen it, any of them that's watching, if you're watching and you haven't seen it's like a PDF, and it's exhaustive in the sense that it has a deck for every hero, a breakdown of what that hero wants to do, like things like that. It is fantastic.
If it's the one I think it is, it's like pretty well presented too. It like looks nice too.
It looks fantastic.
He's definitely. I think a lot of people have seen it and don't know who it is that created it, other than it has decks and drafts on there. But Joey's pretty active on Facebook. You'll see him post here and there. But yeah, he put that together. He just did the Monarch Heroes a couple weeks ago or so. So definitely check them out. And it is a fantastic resource. Not just the deck list, but like the materials to print out and have for new players to look at, because he's got like summaries and things. It's a great, and that's what he intended it for, to help build communities and start player bases.
Yeah, I found it, and I'm totally going to link this in the show notes. So if you out there are like, I would love to help the people around me get into this game, but I don't have the resources, look down in the description. You'll have the resources, because this is, I mean, it's really, it looks fantastic, and it's just chock full of great information for new players. And you just print it up, and heck, you can laminate it if you want to get like really teachery, like
fancy.
I love laminating stuff. Okay, this is an aside. I think like there's a lot of stuff in the world that should be laminated. Like if I could, I'd laminate some of those posters, because lamination just looks better in a lot of ways.
I did it a lot. I did it a lot when I worked in retail. I'd laminate a lot of sheets that are like, oh, these are the order forms or whatever. I just laminate it, and you can just use a Sharpie or like a dry erase marker. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Lamination.
Those this I guess it's a binder page, and it's a sleeve, and you can stick paper in it and you can reuse it.
Protect it, but come on, that's a step down.
It's not as cool as laminating.
Professional.
I guess we need to hit up the UPS store or something and get them laminated.
We had at the store that I worked at, we had a lamination machine, so I use that a lot. I would laminate it, and then I would like do a little punch in the corner, and then I get like this nice little fancy like twine and tie it up, and then hang it on this place where we did these orders. I'm like, okay, this is where it is. I don't know. I agree.
Okay, tangent number 1. I'm gonna have a counter going. That's tangent number 1. It's about lamination.
Is that really the first one? I feel like
comment down below. Halfway, I don't know. Comment down below if you support lamination or if you're anti-lamination.
You'll have to.
Okay, I need to know.
You'll have to send me the.
I will comment. Don't laminate your vaccine card if you have one. Did that, and it burned the ink off.
You should laminate.
Had to get a replacement.
Flesh and blood cards.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Laminate your flesh and blood cards.
Maybe laminate a flesh and blood card you don't mind destroying, because that's
heard it here first.
That's basically what it's gonna do. I'll need to get here first. I'll need to get a copy of the thing we were just talking about, so I can put it in the description as well. Because I know if I don't, and you said that, people are gonna be like, what? Come on, bro. So.
You're welcome. I'm putting, hey, everybody that's watching on Red Zone Rogues channel, I'm putting pressure on him. It's subconscious pressure. Now he's like, I have to do that too.
Watch as I forget.
That's right.
You should go look. If you're watching from my channel, you should go look to see if I forgot.
I'm going to leave a comment on your channel being like, by the way, here it is. And I'll link for you. I got your back, man. Don't worry.
Sweet.
I got your back.
I appreciate it.
Okay, look, I have to go back to this. So this is for you, and again, you run Fab TCG cards, the website. Is it .com? It is, right? It's .com.
Yeah. FabTCGcards.com.
My brain told me it was like .org for a minute there, and it's not an organization, so it's not .org. But this is a family business for you. That is so cool. Oh my gosh. How cool is it to be able to sit down and open packs with your kids? Because I have that experience as well. But I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old, and so when we open Monarch, I take all the shadow cards and I hide them so they don't see Dread Screamer literally giving the guy a haircut. My 4-year-old was like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, "Nothing, son. Shield your eyes." Is it cool though to open packs?
Absolutely. And she, my daughter definitely takes after me a little bit with gaming, and kind of that. She likes that art, the shadow and the the more graphic stuff. We're big into Halloween, so like she loves the gore and the like putting decorations out at the house that are scare off the neighbor kids.
All of the
try to one up ourselves every year kind of thing.
The metal album cover artwork.
Yeah, no, that's why the Fab TCG cards has a lot of the skulls and the skeletal hand or whatever that ended up kind of being the logo. It's just it's just
I dig it. It makes
theme
sense.
that we're like. Yeah, just wait till you hear the Brute. Our next playmat's a Brute playmat. I think we teased the art for it. My business partner there's got a song that is a metal song that is he wrote the lyrics for it that fully is all about Levia, and
I'm super looking forward to it.
I'm
really looking forward to it. What kind of metal? Is it like death metal, or is it more like cleaner vocals? I'm just curious.
It's gonna be pretty. I mean, if you've seen the mat, it kind of needs to be death metal. It's
hell yeah. Okay, sweet.
Pretty harsh.
I'm looking forward to it.
Tangent number 2. What kind of metal?
Yeah,
I like a good tangent,
which was a major tangent in our chat. So
yeah.
Oh man, guys, you don't even know. We have a group chat between the three of us, and they just for like 3 hours just started sending each other links to metal. They were like, "Here's Amon Amarth," and I'm like, "Holy crap! I haven't heard of Amon Amarth in so long."
They were schooling me because I was still stuck in the '90s metal because I just never really evolved, so I got to learn a lot of the more modern stuff.
Yeah,
I have an appreciation for metal. A variety of musical genres, but metal is one that, because I have a lot of friends that were super into it in middle, high school, college, that sort of thing. I've listened to my fair share, and there are a lot of really interesting things about metal in general that I can totally get behind. So I understood a lot of that conversation. I was like, sweet, this is kind of cool. I appreciate these things that are being said.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that big of a deal to me.
Yeah, I don't want to start talking about it because I'll end up talking for like 2 hours straight. Like right. I'm super into it. I was super into music and metal growing up, and I was in a band in high school. Like I was really into it. So I could talk about it for a long time. But
Paul's going to get his whiteboard. You gotta at least say that. He's going to get his whiteboard out right now. He's going to start pointing to the different points. And this is where it begins, and they just connect things.
Well, yeah, you can have like a metal chart of all the genres. So like, this is power metal and subgenres of epic metal, and then we're going to talk about death metal and melodic death and black
chart,
black metal, shoegaze. Anyone out there who knows about metal, they're going to be like, oh yeah, I know what he's talking about. Industrial metal, goth metal, I don't know. I like a lot of different genres. I played rhythm guitar. Okay. I would have liked to play lead, but I'm not good enough to play lead. So I'm not really great at solos, but I can do rhythm. So yeah, that's what I did. Both in a metal band and in like a punk band. And I will say, punk is I don't want to say more fun, but it's a lot easier to play. So I had more fun doing it. Yeah.
I also played in a. Was it? It was the weirdest band. It was so cool. It was like guess? It was.
Can I guess?
What?
Can I guess?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
You were in a ska band.
I wasn't a ska band. I played trumpet in a ska band. But in this band,
brilliant.
In this band, in fact, I was in a ska band and a blues band, and I played trumpet in both. In this band, I played drums. Do you want to guess?
Oh, I don't know. Like what? Like the genre of band?
Yeah, you want to guess?
Sure. Let's say we're talking about metal, so it's probably let's go like just like a. I'm gonna say death metal. Let's say you're in a death metal band.
Death metal from you, Jim. What do you got? You wanna take a swing at it?
Alternative.
That's closer. It was funk rock. It was funk rock, but it had a little bit of like. It was weird because they had a little bit of punk, a little bit of. I would say there's like. It was metal adjacent at certain songs. Like the guys that were really into writing the songs loved a wide variety of music. And they would literally just kind of pick and choose the genre they wanted to for each song. So it made a really interesting kind of playing experience, which was pretty cool. Tangent number 3. What bands were we all in? That's a good tangent too.
I totally guessed ska because I studied film in college, but I lived in the music dorm, and I had a lot of friends in the music dorm who played instruments like trumpet and stuff, who were in like the marching band, but they also were like also in like a ska band kind of thing. And I was like, I could see that. I could definitely see you being in like a ska band kind of thing.
That's a genre that I wish wasn't dead. Alas.
Yeah.
It is sort of dead.
True. Haven't heard much ska lately.
Yeah. Oh well. Oh well. There's still some good ska out there.
Is there?
Well, I don't know about new ska. There's some good old ska.
There's good old ska. I will agree with that. Yeah, there's good old a lot of music. Let's be honest, because it's all sort of, you know, the ones that have really faded into obscurity, nobody cares about, and the ones that have stood the test of time are obvious classics. Things like that for any genre, really. Okay,
just to continue this tangent a little bit more, have either of you ever heard of a weird genre of music called psychobilly? Have either of you heard of?
As in like psychobilly freak out?
I remember hearing that. I remember hearing that term. I couldn't put the music on.
So imagine like punk music and ska-ish kind of vibes mixed with like flapper, like, you know, like Zoot Suit style music.
I'm googling this.
It's weird and it's awesome. Usually they have very like darker themes, like Halloween-y style themes. So like the Creep Show is a really good psychobilly band. Necromantic is another one, and then Horror Pops. But they definitely have like this, you know, like I don't want to say 1920s, but, you know, kind of like that kind of vibe. Maybe 20s vibe.
Like notes.
Okay, I see. Yeah, I see some bands here on YouTube, and you can totally get the vibe. I totally see what you're saying.
It's really fun. So I think if people who like ska, it's not the same, but people who like ska might also like psychobilly. It's weird.
I will be listening to that when we finish our podcast. I will be going and listening to it, and I will I'll report back and let you know what I think.
It's like if Grease, like songs from Grease, but they were like in punk bands instead. Like it's weird. It's weird. So yeah. Was that fourth aside? I don't even know what number we're on now.
Oh, it connects. See, I'm drawing a chart. You can't see the whiteboard because it's down here, but I'm drawing a chart of how they all connect, and I'll just put it up behind us when we're doing our thing.
At the end.
This is where we went.
Yeah.
That'd actually be really cool. I should start actually writing that and not lying to your faces. And do that. Okay, so hey, in the world of Flesh and Blood, over the past, like, I don't know, 5 days or so, maybe, no, what is it? We're recording this on Sunday, everyone. On Friday, we had the release of Crucible of War Unlimited. And from a store owner's perspective that sells singles, how do you feel about the release of that product so far?
Very curious. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like everyone, and it's not, you know, terribly fair to point this out, but a little frustrated from the supply aspect. But we know it's getting better with the additional printers, etc., and then improvements in shipping channels, hopefully. But yeah, I was, like everybody, cut pretty hard on allocation, so I did not get much crew unlimited. But it's waves. It's wave 1. There's going to be a couple more at least in the next, I think, a month at a time. So other than that, though, I like the idea that they added on the additional printers. It sounds like they're not going to print like the same set at multiple printers. So they're like assigning a printer a set. So like Japan is printing Crucible Unlimited, probably.
That's actually very good to point out, because I know a lot of people are approaching this from a Magic perspective, and I know Magic the Gathering, they will do multiple printers for the same set, and you can tell, like, you can definitely tell, like, for Magic, like, one that I remember the most recently is Ikoria. Like, you can tell, like, this is a Japanese Ikoria card, and this is like, you know, whatever the other one was, Belgium or whatever. So that's very interesting.
So far, the ones that we've seen, like I did that post on Facebook that kind of showcased the differences. They're not terribly huge. They're very subtle, if any. Actually, Steven got me yesterday, had two side by side and said, "Can you tell which one's the Japanese card?" And I picked the wrong one. So it's very subtle, very subtle. I mostly, just because I handle so many of them, I can tell the texture. They're at least in the Welcome to Wraith Unlimited Japanese print versus the Belgian print. I can tell by touching them. It's a more rough or matte texture, and the other one's like smoother, etc. But even that is subtle. That's probably the biggest difference. Sometimes the printing, it's not always though the case, but sometimes the printing on the Japanese cards looks like it's darker or deeper, but not always. So actually, Crucible Unlimited seems even closer to regular Crucible than the Welcome to Wraith Unlimited is to Japanese print to the Belgian print. I did notice too the Crucible. Have you guys had the Crucible cards yet?
I haven't opened a single thing of Crucible Unlimited, which is really sad because it's actually my favorite set to open. And for me, it was one of those scenarios was like I could buy maybe like a case of Crucible Unlimited, but I mean they made the announcement that the set was the first wave was going to be disappointingly small, right? Is what they said, I think. And I heard that and I was like, I don't need the set. I would just open it. I would open it for fun.
Yeah.
I would put a box behind me because I like kind of keeping stuff. But someone else can have that and make more use of it right now. Like I will say, it really hurts to see all these sick pulls and like check out Rainbow Foil Shiana and like this is the shard, woohoo is the shard, and like that sort of thing. And I'm like, dude, I wish I could kind of experience along with you.
Man, I want a shard.
My own openings, but I do too. I really want a Rainbow Foil shard, but I don't have one either.
Slap that right in my Sonata deck, like easily. Just slap that right on in.
Yeah, I mean, just in general, just to have it as a collector's item, it would be cool because it was so hard to get, obviously, in the first wave. First edition Crucible. So
one of like the only 3 cards in the entire game that I don't own, so I want to get one at some point.
Yeah.
Well, as an unlimited set, I'm sure you can get one eventually. They'll keep running it.
I'll like trade for it.
Where I was going though is the card packs for the crew are not the same as the Japanese Welcome to Wraith packs.
Oh, really?
That was interesting. Yeah. They're sealed, crimped, I guess, completely different. And then there's like the pull. I might have one. No, not right in the immediate area, but there's a pull tab on it to like pull and open on the side on the crew ones. That's not the case with their Welcome to Wraith Unlimited.
No, it's not.
So very, very different packs, which I thought was interesting.
I saw some pictures.
Curious which one was done first.
Yeah, I don't know.
I assume one before the other, but so yeah, that was a change that I noticed.
Very interesting.
There's a lot of updated card text, by the way, on the crew cards, the Unlimited.
What do you like?
I assume when the release notes come out, it'll be more easily to see that.
And for folks out there watching, like I'm pretty sure this is true, but I think you might be able to confirm this. Like special cards, like the full art Twinning Blade, they're not in the Unlimited, right? I'm pretty sure they're not.
Yeah, no.
Correct.
Cool. Which is consistent. That is consistent with what they were saying about what they wanted to keep first edition doing. All of the interesting cards like extended arts, full arts, things like that. Cold foils, of course, are all going to be there. And then for the players is the Unlimited set.
Ooh.
But what were you going to say?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was going to say, Mitch pointed this out too, and I noticed it as I was opening as well, that there are rainbow foil weapons from the original set.
Yes,
which I don't think was in the first edition.
No, it wasn't.
No, it
was
wait.
Not. So you can get I didn't know this. So you can get a rainbow foil like Dawn Blade or a Nothos. Yeah. Dude.
Yep.
Dude,
they're not terribly rare. So
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the heroes? Probably not heroes, right? Just the weapons?
No, I haven't seen any rainbow foil heroes.
I'm talking about the common heroes. Common heroes, not the rare heroes.
The crew heroes are available in rainbow foil, but not the old heroes.
Cool. I figured they wouldn't do that just because we have promo rainbow foils.
Benji and Ira, I have those in rainbow foil that I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. Yeah. Okay. Well, actually, that's kind of cool then. It kind of gives you a slightly more of an incentive to actually open it up if you've already opened up first edition, and if you want to get some rainbow foil weapons.
I don't know. With crew, I think a lot of people need to open it up. But that was definitely one of those sets that a lot of people jumped in, and then it was out before they could even get their hands on it.
I only have one case coming. I don't have it yet. It's like in transit, but it's not for me actually. It's just for my patrons. So I bought it with the intent of just selling it like to my patrons, so they'll have a guaranteed shot at some boxes. Because I opened up more than enough Crucible of War for myself. Even though I never pulled... well, okay, that's not true. I did pull one tunic that went to Jim. I pulled one tunic that went to Jim. Nothing else. No other legendaries or anything. But, yeah, hopefully I can pull some other sweet stuff for patrons.
Weirdly enough, I opened a ton of crew here on the channel, too, on my channel. And I'm short a blue Mavrian Skies.
What?
I have 2.
Really?
I can't find a third one. I bet you I have it. I bet you it was in a deck, and I just didn't organize it.
Like a non-foil one or a foil one?
Straight up, period. Just end of story.
Bro,
Don't have a third blue.
Dude, I can toss you a blue.
Yeah, I'll say it live, man. I can just ship you one. I have so many.
Look, here's the thing. I was not terribly worried. So when I was playing Chain, I literally subbed in a yellow Mavrian Skies, and I was like, it doesn't matter anyway. Mavrian Skies is like mediocre at best in the deck. At me if you think differently, because it's mediocre at best in the deck. Anyway, so I subbed in a yellow Mavrian Skies, and I was like, whatever. But I just found it interesting that I was like, I looked everywhere, including in all my bulk, and I was like, yeah, I just don't have a blue Mavrian Skies. So I was just gonna wait for Crew U, and I figured I'd buy like a box and find a blue Mavrian Skies in there.
Crucible of War was still when I would binder all of my rares as well. So I have a giant binder, like a massive binder of just all of my Crucible of War foils and rares, and so it's pretty easy for me to find. But now for like Monarch, since I opened up so much, I'm not even bindering that stuff. I have stacks of just rares, and I'm like, they could just go in a box, man. They could just go in a box.
I binder rares and above in my personal like folder to put decks together. I don't bother with the commons though. that's in stacks.
Yeah, for binders now, I just keep super rare and higher, just because I just
really.
Yeah.
I just do the full set. Is that weird?
No, I think it's smart.
If you got
for,
the room
like,
and the
building.
time, I would do it too. But
yeah, I have what I would call trade stuff, even though I don't really trade. It's just all super rare and higher. And then like that's not entirely true. It does have like cold foil well, actually no, cold foils go in a separate thing. I put them in their own individual cases. But like it has rainbow foil. Heroes and promo like rainbow foil stuff. That kind of stuff I also put in the trade binder.
Dude, I'm totally rethinking my life decisions now. You guys don't sleeve any commons like in a binder with your set.
No, I used to put the foil ones, but no regular ones. They're all like in that tower right there, that tower of BCW boxes.
You haven't seen Jason, Deck Edge Jason. He did a video just a little while ago that was a cool method of organizing cards in a binder. I kind of want to follow his way of organizing them now too. If you haven't seen that, you have to check it out. By the way, Jason's another one that really helped me get started. I need to give him a shout out too.
He's a fantastic dude as well.
Fantastic dude. I'm still a Patreon of his, and I still supplement my stock from him from time to time.
Yeah, I mean, like, I like being transparent on my channel and stuff. I do buy a good amount of like sealed product from Deck Edge. I think Jason's a great dude, and he has great prices, so I support him. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
shout out Jason if you're watching. If you're not watching, you should be watching so you can hear your shout out.
Yeah, like if you're out there, not sponsored by Jason, actually sponsored by Channel Fireball, but if you're out there, you're looking to pick up Flesh and Blood stuff, go check out Deck Edge for sealed product. He has a really good pricing. So, yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah,
great customer service.
Oh, fantastic. He even does stuff outside of Flesh and Blood. So I got MetaZoo stuff from Jason. I've got Magic the Gathering stuff from Jason.
He does Pokemon now. Yeah, pretty much
like it's too far to grab, but I don't really do a lot of Magic stuff, but I was really interested in the D&D set because I love D&D and I play D&D every week.
I bought that as well just because of D&D.
Yeah,
I'm also a big D&D guy.
I love D&D, and so I was like, I just messaged Jason. I was like, hey, dude, can you just get me some D&D boxes? I want to play some D&D with my group. Like they don't even play Magic, but I asked them, I'm like, hey, would you guys want to play Magic D&D? It'd be fun, and we're probably gonna do that at some point just because it's D&D, you know?
Yeah,
of course.
Do you play? This is another tangent. Steven, do you play D&D? Jim just says he played.
Yeah, I played D&D for a while, and then I DM'd a homebrew campaign.
Nice.
For like a year and a half.
Nice.
It was a really good story too. I was really happy with it. I came up with it from the ground up. I still have it sitting around somewhere.
That's awesome.
I put it in a file cabinet
next
to my like IRS stuff or something. keep it
records.
keep
the
it
most
where it's
important
gonna stay
things.
Safe. Yeah, but it was a good time.
My current D&D campaign, I'm actually a player. Usually I'm a DM, but I'm having fun being a player. It's also a homebrew campaign. We're doing a lot of random table mechanics. So like anytime we come across a new city or town or whatever, we actually kind of like roll it up and create it on the spot, which is it's very interesting. He does have an overall story and plot, but there's a bunch of like random mechanics.
So it's like random dungeon creation kind of thing.
Yeah, well, he'll usually make the specific dungeons, but a lot of like the NPCs and the cities, and like we'll roll on a table and it'll be like, oh, it's a this size city run by this kind of government, ruled by this kind, and then we'll roll for the ruler and it'll be like, oh, this is their gender, this is their race, and all this kind of stuff.
That keeps it fresh and exciting.
Yeah, and each of us, like when we started, I'm playing with two people. Well, one person who's brand new to D&D. She's actually an artist that does stuff for my channel. She designed my channel avatar, the Red Zone Rogue character, and then another player who's kind of new. So it's just like me. I've played D&D forever. Our DM Patrick, who's also played D&D forever, and then like two kind of newer people. And it's a lot of fun. D&D's great.
Yeah,
agreed. Yeah, I think. So much of culture derives from D&D.
Yes, 100%.
And pop culture, stuff like that.
Oh, heck,
derives from
gaming
D&D.
genre kind of came from that.
Does.
Oh, D&D invented levels. Like, they invented, like, character levels, like, period. It's really interesting.
Experience, etc. Yeah.
Yeah. I got into... I bought a bunch of, like, D&D books recently as I've been getting more into 5th edition. I'm so bad. I bought, like, hundreds of dollars worth of books. I have almost all the D&D books now. But one of the ones I bought was called Art and Arcana, and it's like a visual history of Dungeons & Dragons. There's a lot of reading. It's not just pictures. Mostly it's reading. But it goes over the history of it, and it's super, super fascinating. Like when you like go into the rabbit hole. So it's like D&D is like the foundation for a lot of the stuff you guys are mentioned. Like a lot of modern fantasy tropes and that kind of stuff. But D&D itself... took a lot from like Tolkien and took a lot from like Norse mythology and stuff. So it's like this interesting like chain of events. Like in original D&D, I believe halflings were just called hobbits, and Tolkien, like the Tolkien Foundation or whatever it's called, like sued them, and they're like, no, you can't do that. So
that's fair.
Yeah.
Speaking of rabbit holes, what's that, Tangent 5 now? D&D?
Oh, I don't know.
Someone better keep track, because I'm gonna have to listen back through it, and I'm gonna
they've been fantastic tangents, so I'm not complaining.
I do have a lot. I have a strong feeling that a lot of people out there watching this or listening to it also have experiences with Dungeons and Dragons. I think it's very ingrained in pop culture these days. So.
If you do, leave a comment down below with the character that you've played. Leave a comment. Let us know what character you play or have played. Maybe your favorite character. I would love to know.
Or you're currently playing. If you're currently playing a character, do it.
Yeah.
I'd be genuinely interested to know. I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna read. I mean, I read all my comments anyway, but I'm gonna go to go over to DM Armada and read his comments too, and see if people have commented on what DM classes they're playing or whatever.
Bonus points if you tell us the entire backstory.
Oh god!
Nice.
Oh god!
I want books, people. I want books. Hit the character limit. 1,800. Forget about it.
These essay comments.
That's what I want.
You're gonna start seeing part 1 of 4 on the YouTube comments now.
That's what I want to see. I wanna. But before I go to sleep, I want to be like, I'm just gonna go read a story, and I'll go to the comments section of this podcast, and I'll just someone's like character origin. Just like, I was born in a log cabin. I only had one leg until they sewed another one on. Something like that. That's what I want to hear about. So please put that in the comments below.
So to tie this back into Flesh and Blood, this is just kind of like another aside, but it's tying it into Flesh and Blood. I did hear very early on, and I'm not going to say who I heard it from or anything, but I did hear that one of Flesh and Blood's core target audiences when they started was the Dungeons and Dragons audience. I heard that they didn't want to necessarily market it towards Magic players because they felt that Magic players were kind of already, playing Magic. They're doing their own thing. It's harder to persuade someone to play a different kind of thing rather than like going to a new audience. And it makes so much sense because the characters and equipment and all that kind of stuff is very reminiscent of D&D.
Look kind of like the comparison to Diablo as well. But
it's a
now that you say that,
comparison. Comparing it to Diablo is like 100%. I remember the video he did that in Alpha Investments, and it's like, yeah, that's the exact right way to describe it to someone. It's Diablo meets a fighting game.
I mean, it even looks like Diablo when you have the equipment on the grid. It looks like your Diablo character page where you have your equipment.
Maybe that means we have sockets coming soon.
Oh god, rune words. Get rune words. Put. You need like the certain tokens and put the tokens in the right order.
I'll say that a lot of the crowd that has come to our Learn to Play events and picked it up, we're not Magic players. We have a lot of first-time trading card players in our community playing Fab.
You know what? That actually it doesn't surprise me that you said that, just because people have said that on my channel, and I was surprised then. I was surprised then when they said that. They're like, Flesh and Blood is my first game, and you helped me get into it. And I'm like, holy crap! Like, that's amazing. Like,
no, it's I mean, it's definitely not 100%, but because there's definitely some Magic players that have come over to Flesh and Blood.
Magic refugees.
There's a good chunk that are brand new to trading card games.
Yeah, I'm so surprised. Definitely have some Magic refugees, but yeah, I guess it shows that Flesh and Blood appeals to more than just trading card players. It has a wider appeal than it would seem, because I know a lot of people look at it and they're like, oh, fantasy card game Magic, right? But I think there's a lot more to it than that. I think Flesh and Blood is the kind of game. I think a part of it is a little bit like a psychology. I'm gonna go a little tangent, because there's characters, right? And people can really
go on. There's characters.
People can really associate themselves with characters, and you find like your character that you really like, and like you can really like get in on that. And that's how people are with a lot of things too. Like people who like Marvel, you have like your favorite hero, and I think that's one thing that Flesh and Blood does that Magic kind of doesn't do. I mean, there's like planeswalkers and stuff, but it's not the same.
They have colors.
Yeah, it's not the same. Like Flesh and Blood, the characters are such a big deal. Like you have your character right at the start. Yeah.
Yep. And you know, it's interesting because all of this, I think, ties. I mean, if what you're saying is true, that one of the demographics or audiences that they want to target, LSS wants to target with Flesh and Blood, is like the fantasy role-playing kind of D&D scene, then PvE makes a ton of sense. Which is
confirmed now.
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense. I mean, they were messing around with it last year, and it makes total sense for them to continue to push some sort of a PvE format so that you can sit down with your D&D group and say, hey, let's play some D&D, except we're going to use these decks of cards and we're going to play attacks rather than roll up dice and say what happens. It's the same kind of experience. You're fighting one thing or, perhaps a horde of things, but instead of doing it with dice and with your words, you're doing it with the image on a card and a deck of cards. And I think it's a fantastic way to target that audience, and one that I really think they should really push out as soon as they can, in a format that, of course, they feel comfortable with and they feel that people can engage with long term. But I think it's a fantastic next step.
Yeah,
I can't wait for PvE. I've always loved PvE in games.
Yeah, I was gonna say two things. One of them is, I think it's super obvious that they kind of appeal towards the RPG players when you look at the lore book. I mean, the lore book is like. It's like it could be a D&D world book.
It looks like a D&D book. Yeah, it does.
And then the other thing,
homebrew campaign.
Yeah.
On steroids.
Yeah. I mean, D&D style Flesh and Blood thing would be so cool. Like a campaign set in the world of Wraith would be so
that
freaking.
Would be so cool.
So freaking cool.
So by the way, next week the announcement from Legend Story Studios will be an exclusive partnership with. Well, I guess they can't.
With Hasbro?
No. Yeah, with Hasbro, that would be bad.
Oh, no. Pathfinder.
Okay, there you go. They'll take it to Pathfinder. They're going to take their talents to South Beach and go to Pathfinder.
Hey.
And that's what they'll do.
That would make sense. Like Pathfinder is to Magic what Flesh and Blood, or Pathfinder is to D&D what Flesh and Blood is to Magic, so yeah, that would make sense. I hope they do. So for PvE, I hope it is a really fleshed out thing, like a product or something. So like, I agree. Yeah, exactly. Like people who have been into the card industry for a while might know, like World of Warcraft trading card game did raid decks where they were like literally PvP bosses with entire decks, and they actually had loot too. So they had like a little loot pack with the intent of beating the boss, and you divvy up the loot after you beat it. So that's my hope. That's my like pipe dream hope for Flesh and Blood PvE, that it's super robust. You can buy like a box set for like $40 or whatever.
Bingo.
And you have it with awesome artwork, and yeah, that would be so
cool. You release a
them.
quarterly non-blind product that people can buy and that you can play out a storyline in with your friends. I think that makes 100% sense.
Or even if it was like twice a year or once a year or something like that, that would be amazing.
I think it'll be a good product, though. I actually had this conversation recently with another local player, and I feel like, I know they're still new and it's early, but that LSS's kind of polish for their product is very comparable almost to like Blizzard Entertainment in the early days, where they just really polished a game until it was ready and then released it. So I'm getting the same kind of vibe from LSS, that they do a lot of playtesting, a lot of work toward it. So I think PvE is going to be no different.
Yeah,
I can see that. I can see that actually. I think there's a lot of parallels between LSS and early Blizzard, which makes me worry knowing what Blizzard is now. But
so I almost hesitated to say it because the latest developments in the news. I didn't really want to go down that road, but
that's Activision Blizzard, so we can just say it's Activision's fault.
Yeah.
Easy to blame them for everything.
Yeah, well. You do what you can, I guess.
Them and EA, I guess, the two big baddies.
I mean, like, a lot of video game corporations are like pretty evil, man. Like, all you have to do is watch a couple like big YouTube channels that talk about it, and you're just like, oh, this is awful. Yeah. Well, do we have any?
That's a downer right there.
Well, let's
Kel,
on the good.
I have a follow-up question. Kel, do you have any questions before we wrap up?
No, I was just saying on the positive note, at least so far the TCG industry doesn't suffer the same kind of crap that the video game industry does. At least not on the surface that we have to deal with. So.
Yeah, here's hoping.
Yeah.
That I mean, the nice thing about the Flesh and Blood community that I've found so far is that there's a lot of good people around it, and I think as that continues to grow and expand, I think it's up to us to continue that kind of tradition, I guess is one way to put it, or that the way that we interface with each other is kind of, it falls to us to set that standard.
Absolutely.
So
that was part of why I wanted to do the judge program, was to kind of have a even more I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, like be involved more in the community, having an impact on it.
Yeah, it's a very good point. I think we're going to see a lot of that going forward too, with the judge program and things like that they tie in. So
did you get? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm good. Go ahead.
I was gonna ask if you got your B suit for being in the judge program. You know, the bright yellow and black uniform that the judges wear.
T-shirts.
Yeah, no mention of the uniform. No, unfortunately.
Okay. Have you seen pictures of it?
Unfortunately. Oh yeah.
If the viewers out there have not seen pictures of it, go look up pictures.
I want to see. Where can I find this?
They look like bees. I think there's a picture of Ian, like wearing the judge suit.
I think on one of the main articles that they just posted on the main website, I believe you can see judges in there that are wearing it. It's like a yellow and black shirt.
Yeah, obviously. I think some of them have these hats too. It's actually pretty funny looking.
I didn't even notice the hat, so I'll have to look for that.
Maybe they were just wearing their own hat, and it just happened to be like a black hat. It just made them look more like a bee. It's so good.
We can't wrap this up until I see a photo of this. Stop everything.
It's so good.
Where would I find this? I'm on their website.
Here, let me pull up a thing. Let me see if I can find it.
I need to find this.
As we all hunt for it.
All right, let's just see.
Look, all I'm going to say this too, I need you to understand this. I own a judge shirt from WizKids, and WizKids produces a variety of games like HeroClix and stuff, but they also do produce Dice Masters. I was a judge and also like facilitated the worlds for that game, and it's like a straight up golf shirt. No, it's like a bowling shirt. Like, it's black and yellow bowling shirt, and I hated it at first, but the more I wore it, I was like, this is surprisingly comfortable and breathable. So like I can walk around in this.
If you just go type into Google just Fab Judge uniform. The first one has James White and some other people who I should probably know their names of. Just standing there. So just Fab Judge uniform into Google and then go to images.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I did that. I did Google Images and it pulled up Le Cordon Bleu photo gallery. So it's a bunch of chefs.
Oh, that's a bummer. That's
I found it. It was there. It is. It's yellow with blue stripes. Wow.
I think they're black, but yeah.
Oh, sorry, black stripes. Excuse me. I said blue. That is.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's very.
Yeah.
That's very yellow.
And the best part is I've seen some other pictures of them like at events, and when they're wearing black like pants too, they look like a freaking bee, man. They look like a bee.
That's cool though, man. You gotta have your exclusive shirt. I hope you get one.
I'm assuming that'll be another level, perhaps. You gotta
They'll
earn
do
the
black
shirt.
on yellow.
I mean,
or yellow on black.
Maybe they're just trying to, wait till the program's like super.
Oh yeah, no, it's in its infancy. They're
super up and running before they do that.
Kind of, it's in beta right now. I guess you'll.
Yeah. Would wait for the Unlimited edition.
Yeah.
A podcast for the players. Anyway, so in wrapping the entire thing up, first of all, thanks for hanging out with us. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. This has been a really fun one. But in wrapping it all up, I want us to go around and say something non-Fab related, which we've kind of already touched on a lot, but maybe think of one thing non-Fab related. It could even be non-card game related. Something you're excited about, something that you've been doing, something maybe whatever you're going to go do after this. I'll start again because I'm facilitating this. I freaking love the Olympics. I think the Olympics are like my perfect TV thing. Because I don't watch much TV, but I absolutely love just turning on some random thing and watching the best people in the world at said random thing compete against each other and then cry when they win. That is so heartwarming and absolutely fantastic. Like, I love the Olympics. And so I've been watching, like today, I grew up watching the Olympics too with my family. It was like a family affair. And so today, I sat down with my 6-year-old and my 4-year-old and we watched men's synchronized 10-meter diving. And it was like, this is fantastic. This is primetime television. We watched women's 3-meter diving because diving was on today, I guess. Man, it's so good. I love the Olympics, and I am secretly so glad that we have the Olympics this year and also next year. Because I could watch the Olympics every year and I would be totally fine with that. It would not get old to me. So I'm petitioning that they do the Olympics every year because I will watch far too much Olympics and edit far too few videos if they do.
Okay, so my favorite sport to watch in the Olympics is table tennis, ping pong, because those guys and gals, those people, they just go nuts and it's awesome. It's so cool to watch.
Follow the ball. Yeah.
Did you watch it? Did you watch it this past time?
No, I haven't watched any of the Olympics this year. Maybe I'll go look it up. I don't even know. Are they doing table tennis right now?
Yeah, it's over. They did it already. It was fantastic, including you should watch the doubles finals match and the gold medal match. It was phenomenal.
I'm going to look that up.
We're talking about ping pong, everyone. And it was phenomenal. Doubles ping pong. If you've never watched doubles ping pong, I've never seen people get so far away from the table when they play ping pong.
Oh, I love it. It's so cool.
My favorite sport is actually in the Winter Games.
What is it?
Curling.
Curling is so good.
I love watching curling.
It's scintillating.
Shout out to all the Canadian viewers.
Yeah.
Cross-country ski shoot in
that's fun to watch too.
Yeah, that's super fun. Cross-country ski shoot in the Winter Olympics. I love all the swimming events. I love like some of the offbeat, like fencing is not offbeat, but I love the fencing. I was watching fencing last night.
Katie Ledecky, by the way, from the DMV area. So big shout out for her.
Oh, that's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I've been spending a lot of time following the Olympics and watching the Olympics. So that's my thing, my non-Fab, really not even TCG related thing. Kel, what's yours? You got something?
Yeah, sure. I can talk about it. So literally today, actually, the day of the recording, my little small second channel went live, and it's just a small side thing that I'm doing that's all about basically all the anime and Japanese crap that I buy.
Really excited for that.
So like anime figures, Japanese card games that are in Japanese. I'll probably talk about manga and anime, just whatever I'm watching or reading or whatever. It's just like a place that I can go and put videos on about all the stuff that I'm doing anyway that I don't think would be a good fit for Red Zone Rogue. That's basically what it is. Because I'm doing all this stuff anyway, just as a hobby in my own time, and I was like, I want to do videos on this just for fun, but I don't think it'd be a good fit here. So I just took the time and put it on a new channel, and so I'm really excited for it. I don't know how much it's grown today, but ever since I announced it, it's gotten, I think, 80 subs the last time I checked. If we can get if I can get that channel up to 1,000, that'd be amazing. I can get it. 1,000 is where you can get your own custom URL, and so that's what I would
Good
like.
goal.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've been doing a lot of stuff with that. I've been talking with a lot of artists, commissioning a lot of art, not just for this channel, but just for Red Zone Rogue in general, to get some playmats and other stuff going. I'm just trying to like make the channel look more professional, just in general. So yeah, that's what I've been doing.
I like it.
I'm excited for it. It's really cool.
Well, I'm gonna
Jim,
play
what do
off.
you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna play off both you guys. Kel, actually this week, my wife and we sat down and watched the Netflix live action of both Rurouni Kenshin and Death Note.
Okay.
And they were amazing. So it was a lot of fun watching how they interpreted those series. And I liked them, and she liked them too, actually. So did that, and then kind of online with the Olympics, my daughter started a new gymnastics program this week. So she's
cool.
kind of getting more involved, and she got her black belt in Taekwondo and kind of was like, I'm done. So moved over to gymnastics and just moved up a level. So now she's going more often, and hopefully will continue to progress as long as she's happy. We're not those parents that are really like hammering her for it. As long as she's having fun, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Cool.
Did you ever watch the Death Note movie, the live action movie they made? Like, I don't know when they did it, like 2000.
That's the one I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. So because they did the Death Note show too. On
I
Netflix.
didn't even know
They did the show.
the live action
Yeah, there's a live action Death Note show.
show. Oh, no, I
The
saw
movie
the live
was-
action movie.
The Death Note
Just
show is
week.
weird. The movie's pretty good.
The movie was surprisingly okay.
Yeah.
It was surprisingly okay. I was like, okay, so like you're willing to take the source material and go in different ways. I appreciate that. So for that reason, I was like, yeah.
Did you watch Rurouni Kenshin?
No, but I love that anime.
Rurouni Kenshin.
Try the Netflix series.
If
It's only two episodes, I guess, or two movies.
Mini movies.
does it
Mini movies.
does it have any like specific character? Like who's the bad guy? Is it like Shishio or like who's the bad guy?
God, that's just so good.
I watch a lot of Rurouni Kenshin. I watch a lot of anime,
It was so good.
there's a
man.
reason I'm doing this anime channel. I watch a lot of anime.
It does. It takes it in a different direction. They have a little liberty with it, but I think you'll like it.
My favorite Rurouni Kenshin related thing is one of the OVAs. I think it's called Trust and Betrayal. It's kind of like his origin story.
I remember Trust and Betrayal.
Oh,
it's been years since I saw it. But
that was my gateway show to get people who said that they hate all anime into it because they think all anime is Dragon Ball.
It wasn't Cowboy Bebop?
Cowboy Bebop is another good one. But I just wanted to show them one thing. Just like watch this one thing, and this is what you can get. Because I had like friends in college that are just like, it's all Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball, and tentacle stuff, and I'm like, no, it's not. There's like literally anime for everything. If you like freaking basketball, there's a basketball anime.
Yeah, dude, sports anime, let's go.
Music anime,
if you like
everything.
Boxing, watch Hajime no Ippo. Like, there's a bunch of stuff. So, yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Dude, now I could just sit here and talk about like the 2000s era like Toonami lineup and like whatever they would put on Adult Swim back in the day, because those were some good. They had some great anime back then, man.
Yep. Let's see.
I used to not to date myself, but I used to get it off news groups on the internet, like download stuff off that. Now I have Crunchyroll, so Crunchyroll fits all my needs.
I do Crunchyroll and Funimation these days. There's some really good ones that new ones that I recently watched. I won't get into that. Maybe we'll do that at a different time. Talk about the new ones. But yeah.
I could sit here and talk about anime too. I would like to. Maybe we should do that. That could be episode whatever number we're on. This is episode 2, everyone. Officially episode 2. By the way, welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna end it. I forgot to mention it's episode 2. But yeah, Jim, we're so thankful that you got to come on with us and hang out and talk with us.
Yeah, thank you so much, man.
Really, really appreciate it. It's a lot of fun, and hopefully I'll get to do it again sometime.
Yeah.
I think we may run into each other at Vegas, and so if we do, if by any chance that we see each other in Vegas, we can get together and we can talk.
Awesome.
I'd say there's a pretty good chance. If for the viewers out there, do you have any social media or websites that you would like to let the viewers know they can find you at, or maybe we already talked about your store, but you can plug it again here at the end too.
Yeah, sure. So the official main store site is fabtcgcards.com. I have a Fab TCG Cards Facebook page that is just Facebook/FabTCGcards. I'm mostly active on that and Instagram. So I have an Instagram, Fab TCG Cards, where I just like to do photos of pulls and just different Flesh and Blood related things. So those are kind of the 2 main platforms outside of the website that you'll see me active on.
Awesome. I should make a Instagram. People keep telling me, and I'm like, I don't know. I should probably just do it. I should just do it.
It's so bad at posting on social media.
Me too, yeah.
I can't do it, man. I need to hire Jim to post on my social media, too.
I barely make mine work, man. You don't want me.
Just hire, I don't know, like, who's good at posting social media? Someone in their 20s.
Another couple of years on my daughter, and she'll do it for me.
Someone who's, like, between 17 and, like, 22. I'm sure they're, like, really good at that.
I'm pretty sure they have degrees in that now, like social media engineering.
Yeah. Probably some sort of media studies and influencing or something.
Right,
I don't know.
I keep trying to pass it off to my wife because she's pretty good with it, and she just doesn't take up the mantle. I don't know why. I'm like, hey, I need someone to do social media. Do you know anybody that could do social media? It's like she's just not getting it.
No, don't know anybody.
Trying to get her to be your unpaid intern.
Yeah, I just need her to just take care of that, and then maybe the channel will actually become relevant. It'll be awesome. It'll be awesome. Well, Kel, I think it's time for you to send us out ride us into the sunset, sir.
All right. Well, thank you everyone so much for watching. Thank you again, Jim, for being here. Yeah, just thank you so much, and we will see you next time on another episode of Unlimited Edition, a podcast for the players.
Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye, and good luck.
See you later.